Hello, it's me. I was wondering about the roads years it like to me to go over everything. They say the time's supposed to heal ya, but I ain't done much here. Hello, can you hear me? I'm in California dreaming about who we used to be when we were younger and free. I've forgotten how it felt when the world fell at our feet. There's such a difference between us and me. Hello from the other side. I must have called 1,000 times to tell you sorry for breaking your heart, but it's so bad. Really doesn't tear you apart anymore. So typical of me to talk about myself. I'm sorry. I hope that you will. Did you ever make it out of that town where nothing ever happens? It's no secret that the both of us are running out of time. So hello from the other at least I can say that I'm trying to tell you sorry for breaking your heart, but it don't matter. Clearly doesn't tear you apart anymore. Ooh, anymore. Ooh, anymore. Ooh, anymore. Hello from the other side. I must have called 1,000 times to tell you sorry
and I'm so frustrated, and I'm whining and moaning and complaining about my team and why they're not building more and making me richer quicker. I'm so frustrated. So finally, after for God only knows how long, I say, I just want to find team members who are like me. My sponsor loved me enough to tell me the truth and said, Randy, that's your problem. You did find people exactly like you. You brought in people, you sponsored a few people, and then you kind of think you're a big director, fancy manager now. You're trying to manage people, and you're waiting for them to make you rich, and they're duplicating the same exact thing you're doing. And that's your problem. Welcome, everybody. I'm Randy Gage. I am here with my esteemed colleague, the lovely and talented Jaime Loquier. He's broadcasting, kicking it live from Montevideo, Uruguay. I'm kicking it from Miami, Florida. And we're going to share with you our 5 best business accelerators. Just do us a favor, wherever we're all over the interwebs. We are on Facebook in English, Facebook in Spanish, YouTube in English, YouTube in Spanish. We can't watch all the screens. We will check them afterwards. So just check in and say, hey, let us know who you are and where you're watching from. And ping your team. Let them know that they should drop whatever they're doing and be on here live. Block off the next 90 minutes because we have 90 minutes of solid, amazing content for you. And just to show you how much we love you, let me open up with a free gift for you. This project we're doing is all hosted, the Starfleet command site is duplicationnation.com. We're going to do broadcast lives like this. We have a blog. We're going to produce training videos. We have a regular newsletter that's going to come out once a week, an email newsletter for free. And then we have something really special that's also for free. It's called the MLM Boot Camp. This is a 3-week survival training. Just like if you joined the Navy SEALs or you just joined the regular Army or Air Force or Navy, you go through basic training and they teach you how to survive in the wilderness, how to survive if you're separated from your unit. That's kind of what this is. It's a 3-week program with 9 lessons, 3 lessons a week for 3 weeks. And it's totally free. So if you go to duplicationnation.com, and somebody type that in the chat, whatever page you're watching, please. Go to duplicationnation.com and scroll down to the bottom and see MLM Bootcamp. Put in your name and your best email, the one that you actually read, because you're going to want to read these. All right. So 5 best business accelerators. Jaime, please set the stage if you would, and share our first accelerator.
There you can listen to me, right?
Now we can hear you, yeah, because I wasn't hearing Sergio, and I assume that's because Sergio wasn't hearing you. So anybody wondering, we're actually doing this in English and Spanish. So for you guys watching on Zoom, you need to select the right language on your language thing at the bottom, and the rest of you are hopefully on the right page that's speaking the language you want. If you're not, check your email that you got 30 minutes ago, and it shows you Spanish and English.
Let me say that in Spanish, just in case we have people from Spanish-speaking markets on the English side. si estás escuchando esto en inglés y lo quieres escuchar
If you're listening to this in English and you want to listen to this in English, you may have received an email with links, one for English and one more for Spanish. The link for Spanish is my own YouTube channel. You go to my YouTube channel and you'll find all our information in Spanish.
Why is so important that you learn these accelerators? Because we all know that the news and all the media outlets are filling the minds of your team of all the crisis and all the trauma and drama that is going out with the financial system. And when people have their minds filled with that garbage, they fill their hearts with fear. And people with fear stop working. They just grab their money and they try to be under their sheets with that money until the crisis goes away. And that never goes well long term for your team or their business. But when people are growing, they stop listening to the news. When they actually see that we have more people every event and we have more rank advancements and more testimonials, then whenever they listen to someone on the news saying that the world is crumbling, they say, hey, this guy is crazy. I don't know what he's talking about. We are growing. And that's what you need. That's why you need these accelerators now more than ever. That's why we are doing this. So we're going to talk you about 5 things that could help you grow more than ever. The first one is the most basic one. This is something that it's not new for you, and it's the one that we like the least out of the 5 because it's just a short-term solution. But sometimes you need that. Sometimes you need a boost of growth. You need to bring more numbers to your team this month. So that's when you use this first accelerator, which are promotions. You know, you tell everyone, if you do A, you will receive B. If you sponsor 3 people this month, you will receive a special training with the top leader of our company. If you sell $1,000 of product to your clients, you will receive a special commemorative pin, etc. Now, those promotions, yes, they are basic. It's something that everyone uses. It's something short term, but if done right, they could be very powerful. And most people don't do promotions right. That's the truth. Why? Because usually when we do promotions, we want to achieve too many things at the same time in our team. And if we promote too many things, people don't do anything. So I want to tell you 5 very common mistakes that people do when doing promotions, so you avoid them, because that's the key to actually make them work. If you do a promotion that doesn't work, then you are just spending your money in a team that will keep doing the exact same thing. So the first common mistake is that people don't have clear goals and don't focus all the promotion on those clear goals. If you want people to register new team members, sell more product, help their new team members, win the company contest, and be on time to the events and bring more people to the events, you want all of those things to be covered on your promotion, then you will need too many rules for your promotion. People to earn those promotions will have to do too many things. So they won't do it. They will just keep working the same way. And they will say, you know what? 1 week before the end of the promotion, if I'm close to it, I will run a little just to win. But for the rest of the time of the promotion, they won't change their behavior. And that's what you want from the promotion. That's the main goal, changing behavior. So if you only tell people, hey, to win this promotion, you need to sell $1,000 of product to your clients. That's something very simple, very clear. the clearer the message, more people will run for it. So that's the first thing. The second mistake is that people tend to give the wrong kind of rewards. For example, they tend to do raffles as a prize for the promotion. Everyone who brings 5 new team members will be part of a raffle. That's something that doesn't work with promotions because people want guarantee of something when they are winning the promotion. And if it's just a raffle, it's just a chance of winning something else. So the best promotions are the ones that give a reward to everyone who achieves something. It doesn't matter if it's something small. You can give them a pin. You can give them a special training on Zoom, a special training with a top leader. So it's something small, but for everyone who achieves the goal. And then you have special rewards for the 3 that does it better, for the guys that bring more people on this month. That way, everyone will run for the pin. Remember that people actually run for recognition, so that's enough. But your best leaders will give their lives to be part of those special 3. The third mistake that people make is that they don't start at the right time. They start the promotion or the communication about the promotion too early or too late. If you are doing a promotion that runs from February 1 to February 28, you can't announce it 1 day earlier or 1 day before February 1st. Because if you announce it 2 or 3 days before, people will hold their points. They will say, okay, I won't bring my customers, I won't bring my prospects because I want to bring them when the promotion is running. And many of those will go away because you were waiting. And if you start late, if you start 3 days later, you communicate it, that will be the excuse that people give you on why they didn't qualify. It doesn't matter if you told them that they need to bring 10 people and they brought 1, they will tell you that the reason they didn't bring the other 9 is because you told them 2 days later. So if the promotion starts on February 1st, you announce it on February 1st, first time in the morning. The fourth mistake is that people do too long promotions. The promotions are better if they are short. The shorter, the better. So for that, you need to consider, if you want to give a big prize, you need more months of qualifying because that gives you more money to bring the prize. But the shorter, the better. If you have the option to do it in 6 months or 3 is better. If you have the option of doing it in 3 months or 1 is better, because that way you give people a sense of urgency, and promotions work much better that way. And the last mistake is that people feel that they are over communicating, so they stop doing it. And there's no way you can over communicate the rules, the benefits, and the recognition of people who are doing this. If you are doing 1 month of promotion, every time you speak with your team, it doesn't matter if it's an event, a training, a presentation, every time you speak with your team, you need to be speaking about why it's so important, this promotion, why everyone should be earning this promotion, not just because of the price, also because all the benefits their team will get if they do the right behaviors. And you need to be speaking about the rules, what you need to do to qualify, and you will be speaking about all the amazing people that are winning and what they are winning and how their teams are growing because they are part of this promotion. So this is very important, because if you stop focusing all your team on the promotion, they will find a way to forget about it. And you don't want that to happen. The only way you can take the most out of the promotion is if this is your main focus for the time that the promotion is on. So that's the first one. That's the first accelerator. Randy Gage, what's the second one? You're on mute. You are on mute, my friend.
I was just checking if you all were paying attention. Business accelerator number 2 is create a roadshow. What's a roadshow? Well, when Travis Kalanick and the boys and girls at Uber wanted to raise $500 million so they could be worth $800 trillion, they did a roadshow where for investors. So they'd go, they have a conference, a hotel room, they created a PowerPoint deck and say, here's our business strategy, here's what we think the market is, here's what your return on investment could be. If you model this and then we tweak it and then we turn it into a concert tour or learn from a concert tour, then the results are incredible. For you guys who are country music fans, you know that Carrie Underwood is currently on her Rhinestones and Denim tour. Some of mis amigos who hablar español know that Eureka is on the Pa Luego es Tarde USA tour right now. And something more for my taste, if you're a Queensryche fan, you know they are currently on the Digital Noise Alliance tour.
Hola, hola. Creo que se pausó esto. Creo que Randy.
Hello. I think this is Pot. I think Randy had a Zoom disconnection. Please confirm in the chat if you can hear me. I believe you can hear me. Well, as soon as Randy's back, he will continue to tell you about the tour. The presentations tour, the roadshow. I've been told that Randy's screen is frozen. That I hope you can see me.
That we were in both channels. Randy had a trouble with his internet, so I will keep telling you that you know that when an artist wants to grow his presence and want to sell more albums and want to grow all the impact of their songs, what they do is that they go to many cities to do concerts. They do a roadshow. And that's exactly what you can do with your team, because you know that events bring more people than any other thing you can do. People actually work much more when you are going there with them to do an event. People actually really go out of their comfort zone to bring more prospects because you are the leader that is coming. And actually they feel that it's easier to bring their prospects to you because you know you are the leader, you are the one that's coming to help them. So they have a different kind of belief. When you are doing an event with your team in a city that is far away from you, somehow they feel that you will bring your miracle touch and you will help them close their prospects, their candidates much easier. It will be much easier their job if you are there. So that's why when you are doing events, people work harder. And Randy Gage is back.
I am.
And you are live. Everyone is listening.
Okay, so you want me just to pick up? Where did you pick up where I left off, or where are we going here?
I picked up and I told them how artists do road shows to promote better their careers, and that's what we need to do. And I'm explaining why it's such an amazing idea, but I didn't tell them how to do it yet.
Okay, good. All right. So, perfect. And unfortunately, what happened is, so I have I have Zoom open. I have my browsers open. I'm trying to watch what's going on in the English rooms, the English YouTube, the Spanish room, the Spanish YouTube. I pulled up some samples that I want to show you of promotional materials. And my laptop said, I'm sorry, this is way too much for me. I'm going on break. And so I lost everything that I pulled up. Let me get this open just so I do want to share a couple of things with you that will help in terms of the marketing materials, because you want to actually create materials that that people can give out and promote. So you create like I gave you the names of Kari Underworld's tour and the Queensryche tour and things like that. That's what you do. You create a name for the tour and you pick up who's going to be on the tour. And I know when I was seeing, and I shut down all those other things now, so hopefully my computer won't die. But I noticed earlier we have some corporate executives, CEOs watching the broadcast. So this is the kind of thing the company can do this. Field leaders can do this by themselves, or the company and the field leaders can do this together. And then it's really powerful. So you might create a tour and you pick a couple of the leaders who are going to be at the tour events, and the CEO agrees to be on the panel, or maybe you're in a skincare company and you got one of the top scientists who helps formulate the products and they could be on the tour, or maybe the CEO or the president or the vice president of marketing can be on the tour, and you'll go around and so you build a flyer with those people on it, you create the name, and then you pick the markets. Now, how do you pick the markets? Well, the difference between this, what I was trying to say when I think the computer died, is this is not a destination event like your major events, like your company conventions. People don't get on planes and travel to these. These are done in local areas. And so maybe people are driving in now, and you will get some people who will come a ways, right? You may have people that drive 10 hours to come to one of these, but it's really done to boost excitement, volume, enrollments, and customers in the biggest markets in your organization. So if you've got a strong team going in Dallas, you put Dallas on the tour stop. And the idea is they print flyers and tickets and they invite candidates to these. And so you get new customers out of it, and you get new distributors out of it, right? So I want to see if I can pull up, let's see do I have, como se dice, Jesus, la pantalla. How do I share you got screen sharing set up for me? I'm opening the right thing. Yes, we do. All right, so let me get rid of some of this junk. So here is an example of a ticket. Right. And this isn't even the one I want. Let me go. I know there's a better one. Now, by the way, just to be clear, what I'm using for samples here are from Agile Enterprises, which is no longer in business. That's why I picked this example. All right. Whenever you are on an event with Jaime and I, you can know we will not be endorsing any companies. It's safe to put your team on the call. We're not going to get leaders from some MLM crypto scam and bring them on the program with us. you will get generic safe training. So here's an example of a tour that I did down under. So we did Brisbane, Melbourne, Auckland, and Sydney. And then, so this was printed for the people. Another example is, when you give a tour name, we did a tour once, we called it the Agile Jam. And we took it around. The Agile Jam is coming to Chicago. The Agile Jam is coming to Minneapolis, right? And so we did it just like you would a concert tour. We create a flyer, and then it would say, January 10th, Hawaii, Honolulu, Hawaii. January 12th, Los Angeles. January 14th, San Diego. January 18th, Arizona. And you would so it really creates some excitement. And it really can boost sales and enrollment. So think I had one or two more, but unfortunately I lost them when my computer crashed. But what I think we'll do? We have a newsletter called MLM Confidential, which we'll talk about in a little bit. I'll make sure we do a little story about this in one of the upcoming issues, and we can actually put in some other examples of this. So you really have some case studies. So that's Business Accelerator number 2. Jaime, please share número 3.
Número 3, the third business accelerator is creating a buzz-worthy social media campaign. You know that after COVID, everything moved to digital. And of course, in our space, we still have a lot to do outside of the digital world. But those who are doing both, those who are going to Starbucks and doing actual meetings in person, but also are leveraging on social media, are having the most growth. And we're not gonna speak now about how to use social media every day. Actually, that's something that we will cover on the free MLM bootcamp that Randy told you about. But once in a while, you can do this once a month or once every 2 months. You can do a special social media campaign to help your team bring much more volume. And this is something that will help you sell more products. But if you have 1,000 people in your team and each of them sells only $100, or each of them sells $1,000, your check will be 10 times bigger with the same amount of people. So this is something you can do. For example, when we are consulting with companies that have monthly pay plans, we do this the first week of the month. That way people can focus the first week on bringing more customers, and then when they are getting closer to the end of the month, they go more and more to bringing more candidates for the business. So how do you do this kind of campaigns? I will tell you step by step, okay? The first step to doing a campaign that all your team can duplicate, and by the way, the philosophy behind these kind of campaigns to actually work is that you will invest as a leader, or all the leaders of the team will invest their time and efforts on creating the structure, but it must be a structure that all the team can use, okay? So how you create that structure? Step number 1, you need to think about one main benefit for this campaign. It doesn't matter if you have 1,000 products, you will choose one benefit. You can choose sleep better, you can choose have more energy, you can choose boost your immunity, you can choose, if you are on the wellness world, you can have products for all of those things, but you will choose one. Okay, that's very important because campaigns must be targeted to one main benefit. So I will give you an example of all we are saying. Let's suppose we are working with a makeup company. It's a makeup company with a lot of products for many situations. So The main benefit in this example is that you can be stunningly beautiful in every situation because we have a versatile makeup line. So the actual benefit is the versatility, that you can have makeup that will work for many different situations. Okay, that's the main benefit. Step number 2, now that you know what's the main benefit, is that you need to add as much value as possible with things that won't have added cost for you to deliver. So for example, if we are doing this benefit that I just mentioned, let's suppose that we do 12 or 7 live trainings. One live training about how you use this makeup for a night out, and then one live training about how you use this makeup when you are going to the beach, and another live training on how you use this makeup when you are going on a date. So you have 7 live trainings on how to use makeup for different situations. This is something that has no added cost because these live trainings will be done by the team. So you have 0 added cost. Then you will receive one PDF guide on the trends on makeup for 2023. 0 added cost because the team will do that PDF. Maybe you will have to pay $100 to a Fiverr designer so he can do an amazing PDF, a beautiful PDF, but it's $100 that you will divide between all the leaders. So it's non-cost virtually. And you can have another PDF guide on best ways to use makeup, and you will have 3 video tutorials on the basics to have a good makeup. So there you have 7, 9, 12 different bonuses you are giving to the product. And what happens with this? That suddenly people feel that your product is very cheap is not the word, but that it's not expensive. It's something they can pay because you were selling a product for $100, but now you are giving them for $100, you are giving them the product plus 12 other things that won't have added cost for you, but will have a lot of added benefit for them. Step number 3, you need to create the identity of the campaign. So you need to choose a name, you need to choose a slogan, you need to choose a color, a logo, so you can really create a campaign that people will want to bring their prospects. So for example, in this case, we can name it the Beauty-thon, a 7-day sprint to master the best makeup for every occasion. So this is our name, this is our title, our slogan, and we will use pink and purple, and we will do an amazing logo for this. So we can tell the team we're gonna do the Beauty-thon 2023. And when you put name to something and you explain the benefits to the people with a very easy slogan, they can share it. And when they can share it, they can duplicate it. Okay, step number 4, you create the marketing tools that your team will use on their social media. So you create 3 or 4 different flyers for Facebook and for Instagram so people can share. Flyers announcing the Beauty-thon. And you create a short 1-minute video about why you need to be part of the Beauty-thon. And with all those marketing campaigns, you can help your team so they can bring more people. Step number 5, when you have the marketing tools, you educate your team. You do one webinar, as long as it takes, to explain your people what's the Beauty-thon, why they need to bring as many people as possible, why if they bring people to the Beauty-thon, their volume will grow. And you tell them exactly what are the steps to bring more people. You tell them what kind of groups they need to join to find prospects for the Beauty-thon, and you tell them what to post on their Facebook groups with their family and their friends, so they bring people to the beauty-thon. You tell them step by step what they need to do to bring more people, and you give them a goal. And this is very important, because when you don't give people a goal, they just go out and bring one person. But if you tell them each one of us need to bring 30 people to the beauty-thon, then people will have something to aim for. And step number 6, you actually do a webinar where people bring all their prospects. You announce this beauty-thon and you tell them, listen, you will have all these benefits, and all these benefits would cost you $1,000 if you would want all these trainings and PDFs, but you will have them for free if you only buy this product, or you buy this pack with these 4 products, because you need those products to actually do what we're going to teach you. If you go to the trainings and you don't have the makeup, you won't be able to apply what we will teach you. So you need to buy this, and you will have all these benefits for free. And it's amazing. It's amazing how it works. We've done this many times with many clients that we are doing consulting. And just to give you an example, the last time we did this, it was for a leader. It wasn't for the company. So this leader, each time he repeated this, he did this once a month. Each time he brought 200 prospects. Out of those 200 prospects, 50 bought product, which is 25% of cold market that came to see what's the beauty-thon. And out of those 50, 15 decided to do the business. So each month he had 50 customers and 15 new team members, just because doing this, only on cold market, only people that wouldn't come if it wasn't for this very easy way of bringing more people. So this is something you can do with any product, with any market. Just you will have to put the time and effort to do it once, and then you can rinse and repeat. You can use it once a month or once every 2 months, and help all your team bring much more people. That's the third accelerator. What's the fourth one?
You're throwing it back to me. All right. Am I unmuted? Okay, good. Yeah. So here's one maybe you wouldn't think of in this context, but I think you should, because it's developing long distance lines, which we think of as a natural progression of the business. But I think you're going to see that you can proactively make this come to life. And here's how you do it. I just feel as a leader, one of the most important things I do every month is I dive into the back office and I'm just looking at the volume, looking at the enrollments, looking at the customer base. Where do I see a spark of activity? And then when I see that spark of activity, I say, hey, there's somebody down on my 111th level in Wichita, Kansas, that put in 11 people 2 months ago. They put in 13 people last month. The volume is X amount. These number of people have put in people of their own. I see some action going down there. Who is that person? And then I'm going to call one of my higher ranking leaders and say, hey, I noticed Marceau down here on level 111. What do you know about him or her? Oh, yeah, he's a guy he joined about 3 months ago. He got really excited. You know, he's retired from the Marine Corps. He used to teach survival skills. He's a blogger. He really loves the company. He loves the product. And okay, you know what? I want to reach out to this person. And so you look for those levels of, these potential leaders, which we're going to talk about in by the way, in Accelerator 5 is really the big money payoff for you. But you say, you know what? I think it may be worth a plane ticket to go down to Wichita, Kansas. And that's what in terms of mindfully choosing how to work long distance lines, because here's the way not to do it. You're going to get a million phone calls and they're going to say, hey, a guy I used to go to school with, he lives in Detroit. What do we have going on in Detroit? And for you guys who are in international companies, it's even worse because, hey, the guy I used to go to school with, now he's working at the embassy in Sweden. Are we open in Sweden? Let's go there. No, the fact that you know one person in Sweden, which is a 3,000-mile plane trip away, that speaks a different language, maybe, that has a different culture, maybe, that it's crazy to do that. What a leader does is they mindfully look at, okay, where does this make sense? So, because what do people say, the natural human proclivity is to procrastinate for a lot of people. So they live in Minneapolis, Minnesota. They know 800 people in Minneapolis, Minnesota. But if they know that you're going to open in Italy, your company's going to open in Italy in 6 months, they're going to say, oh, my sister-in-law, she's in Italy and she would be perfect. So they will wait 6 months for Italy to open. And meanwhile, they'll be doing nothing in Minneapolis with the 800 people that they know. It's because it's avoidance behavior. So it's really important you create the culture in your system, in your new distributor orientation, in your training agendas on working the local market first. And Jaime and I will support you on this in big ways. He has a book called Leadership Networks. I have a book called Direct Selling Success. We're both all about how to build a strong beachhead first with your local team. Get some customers, get some distributors, get some income. And then when it makes sense, that's when you're moving up and you go in the back office and you look. So then what I want you to do, if you really want to be serious about this and you really want to become successful, is figure out how many days a month you can travel to expand your long distance lines. And for most people beginning out, it might be 1 day a month, 1 to 2 days a month. But when you get to the point where you're earning the equivalent of, let's say it's $5,000 a month US in your business, that might need to go up to 3 days a month. And you get to the point where you're making 40,000 US a month, 80,000 US a month, you really might need to spend 5 days, 7 days a month where you're working long distance lines. You don't have to, but I think it's kind of foolish not to, because as you develop organizations of that size, they just keep branching out and branching out and branching out. And then you have amazing leaders that if you don't go down and help develop that local area, you might lose them forever because they may not have strong enough support from their sponsor above them. You've all seen this. We all know people on our teams who are, frankly, not very good at the business, not very successful in the business, but they won the DNA lottery because their brother or their sister is a superstar. Or they won the zip code lottery because they just happened to buy a house which was next to Becky Morales, who turns out has never been in network marketing. But when she gets sponsored into the business, she becomes the next superstar and builds a team of 80,000 team members, right? Her sponsor still makes $1,500 a month, because they haven't learned their craft. They haven't developed their skills, but they were able to sponsor Becky. And Becky became this, it's a mean expression, but it's been in the profession for years. Every zero knows a hero. And that's the reality, right? So you may have someone down in the team that doesn't have strong sponsorship line support. They need one of the better leaders, more experienced, talented, skilled leaders to come down and visit that area. So increase your investment as your team grows, the investment of time and the investment of money. And then there's just smart ways to do this. You maximize your ROI. When you go, you have them schedule an opportunity presentation, and you might be the main speaker. You definitely do training sessions while you're there. You might set up private meetings with key candidates. You may have an intimate leader get together where you tell your team there, hey, I want to the night before, the morning of the event, I want to have a special breakfast session with all the directors and above. And I want to have a special lunch with diamonds and above. And then you just pack in as much, all of it, of networking, training, meeting people, making presentations. You may set aside 2 hours where they bring you key prospects. Maybe your presentation starts at 7:00 at night. You might have a diamond dinner from 5 to 6:30, but from 3 p.m. to 5 p.m., you're up there in the concierge lounge and they're bringing you really high level prospects. This might be somebody who's in another company and the company is messing things up. They can't ship their products anymore. They messed up their comp plan. Maybe this person is a big income earner there and they need a private meeting. They can't just show up at an opportunity presentation. Those are the kind of things you can do that really give you that return on investment. So it really makes sense. And then you realize, okay, how many days a month am I going to do that? And then again, one of the big things is just getting in that back office and looking for that spark of volume that you can go down and pour kerosene on the spark and turn it into a raging forest fire. All right, before we go to accelerator number 5, let me take a couple minutes and we could share with you about a resource we're doing that is for you guys who saw our broadcast last week. You know about this. So some of you already have the first edition of this, but we have created a monthly, I'm going to call it a newsletter because there's no correct word in the English language to describe what this is, but it's an electronic newsletter sent out via PDF once a month. Jaime and I have made the commitment that this will be the most powerful business building resource that you can have in the year 2023. I don't want to labor on the backstory, but it's just, we saw what was going on in the profession. We have so many trainers who aren't in the business that don't understand it, who are teaching horrible stuff. We have consultants who were in the business 40 years ago and they're teaching stuff about back in the days when we recruited, handing out dead doctors don't lie cassette tapes. We have authors and speakers who know nothing about the business, but they get kickbacks from Ponzi schemes and MLM crypto scams, and they're endorsing them and promoting those people. We have industry events that are putting these people on stage. So you buy 60 tickets and you have 60 of your team at some event, and then they bring up some leader who is in a MLM crypto scam in Dubai, and they give them the platform for 60 minutes. And that's what's influencing your people. And we just felt like we got to take the profession back from these zombies and these dinosaurs and these terrorists and these, the dinosaurs who are still doing business the 40-year-old way, and the terrorists who are just, they're criminals. There's no way to, the OneCoin people, they're criminals. There's no like shady line or, these are just criminals who are victimizing your team. And everyone, if you're a leader on this call and you have a pretty good sized team, then you've already lost people to these scams because they don't know any better. So Jaime and I feel like education and training and awareness and developing skill sets are the key thing. And that's what we created, Duplication Nation. That site is free for everyone. Now we've also developed a subscription newsletter. This is a $347 a year newsletter. This is for people who really are serious and they want to learn the skill sets. They want to become a better leader. They want to become full-time in the profession. So it's a $347 a year thing, but we've created a charter subscriber, very special, where you can get there for a lot cheaper. But maybe Jaime, share your thoughts, if you would, on the newsletter itself, and maybe talk about some of the elements that we put in every month to help people really make this the number one resource to grow their business this year.
Yes, absolutely. So considering this situation and considering that the best thing you can do for your team is give them the right content and letting them know where they can find not only the right, but also the safe space with that content, we created this, and this will be divided in 4 different sections. The first section will be about duplication, about all the skills that you need to develop. So every month you will have special lessons from Randy and from me about how to create a bigger, stronger team. And then the second part of this will give you a lesson about leadership, because we all know that leadership is what actually makes or breaks a team everywhere, but especially in our profession. We are leading an army of volunteer people that if they don't want to work, they won't work, and you can't fire them and you can't force them. So the more you learn how to motivate and how to inspire them, the better results you will have. And we will give you lessons from the highest level. This is not something you can learn on the basic book that you have on the bookstore in the corner of your house. This is something that you would have to go to the universities to read the thesis of the people that are actually doing the studies on leadership. And even then, you won't have the information on how to apply it on network marketing. So you will have all these lessons on leadership and how to apply it to your business, to network marketing, so you can actually have more impact on your team. Then we will have another segment where we will alert you and your team about all these scams that Randy was mentioning. Because if you are the one alerting your team on this, your people will say, of course, this guy is telling me that I shouldn't go to that company because he doesn't want me to live to a better place. But if you have people like Randy, I won't speak about myself, that wouldn't be nice. But Randy, for example, he's a guy from the Hall of Fame of direct sales. He's the guy that wrote all the books that every trainer is using to do their own trainings. If someone like him is telling you, listen, I'm the guy that the people that does the law in the United States call me to ask me which company looks like a pyramid and which not. And I'm telling you, this company has a lot of alerts. Your team will listen to that much more. So we will have this, and we will name names. We will tell you which companies are having pyramid scheme practices and which ones are those that you cannot trust. So that's something for sure you want for your team. And last but not least, we will have a challenge. Every month we will have a challenge designed for you to apply all the information and to grow your team with that information. Because if you only have information and you don't have an action plan, then you just lost your time. But here you will have specific things to do to actually have growth with your team. So those are the sections you will have, and every now and then we will do Q&A sessions, and we will bring other people to also give you their best information. So in summary, this will be the best tool you can have if you want to have the best information day to day. You know, books are amazing if you want the information that doesn't change, but in a world like ours, when you have new information every day, something like this, it's much more relevant.
Yeah, other thoughts about this. I just kind of, our whole philosophy for this project, I was looking back at some of my earlier work. I was looking back at what I'm looking now at what we see with trainers in the profession. There's been such a evolution for some of us, and there's been such a de-evolution for others. Back in the day, you know, I had pictures with my exotic supercars, and if you ever saw a picture of me, I was sitting in my Aston Martin, I was sitting in my Bentley Continental GT, I was lined up with I've had 9 or 10 Vipers, and you know, it was all about the bling bling and the rah-rah and the private jets and the you know, the coconut, drinking out of a coconut, stacks of cash, frolicking on a beach stuff. Listen, there are those elements of our lifestyle. If you notice, I always do these recordings in my office. I'm not doing them. I'm not walking around and saying, here's my $1 million penthouse that I have, and here's my view of the Miami, you know, coast and Miami Beach. And, you know, if you read this, which is look at the size of this, okay? This is, I don't know, 280 pages. People don't like books like this anymore. This is a college textbook. This is a PhD in how to become an empowering network marketing leader and build a huge team all over the world. This isn't the kind of books that most people like when they go to Amazon. They want 80-page books. They want books that have 10 words on a page and lots of pictures and hype and rah-rah. And I just made a decision a few years back. I want to be the mentor for the thinking people. I've got watches there. If I took you to my closet, if I took you to my shoe closet, I could do the MTV Cribs thing as well as anybody, right? I just don't want to do that anymore. I'm too old and I'm too rich to play such silly games. I built the business the right way. A cooked leg. I didn't get placed at the top of a position. I'm a guy who was a high school dropout, who was in jail as a teenager for armed robbery and burglary, teenage drug addict, alcoholic, who made my life over. And I did it with hard work and systems and building blocks and foundations. My partner in this, Jaime Loquier, he's the same. Real world, honest, hardworking, we do it right. We have never sold our names to anyone. So if you want a little puffy book, there's plenty of those out there. The reason I wrote this one is I want to create the textbook, the complete soup to nuts. How do you meet people? How do you work a candidate list? How do you invite? How do you do home meetings, hotel meetings, online meetings? How do you manage the organization? How do you develop leaders? That is the philosophy that we're bringing to this newsletter. We call it MLM Confidential. We're not writing it for the rah-rah people. We're not writing it for the stupid people. We're not writing it for the lazy people. And we're not writing it for the pyramid Ponzi scheme people. We're writing this for the real people who are willing to do the work, who want to know how they know that iron sharpens iron. And Jaime and I are going to be that iron that sharpens you, your iron, each month to make you a better leader. So when you become a charter subscriber, it won't be $347. It'll be $147. And when you become a charter subscriber, you will lock in that price for life. If the newsletter goes up to $500 a year from now, you'll still can renew at $147. If it goes up to $800 5 years from now, you can still renew at $147. It's lifetime price. He mentioned we're going to have a private Facebook group. We do office hour sessions where it isn't a subscription you can share. You get some tangible individual stuff, like where you can be with us in live events and asking questions. We're going to do a private Telegram channel. So there's a lot of value. So Jaime, what's the URL? Where do they go to get this special charter subscriber price? And then let's jump into our final and I think most important Biz Accelerator, of course, which is the last one.
We have two different pages, one for English, one for Spanish. By the way, everything you heard, the Duplication Nation site, the MLM Bootcamp, and of course, the MLM Confidential newsletter, all of them are in English or in Spanish. You can choose your language, okay? So, Jesus, if you can put the slide on the page so we can show them what's the link they can join, and I will write it here on YouTube. If you are looking for the Spanish version of this, if you are looking for the Spanish one, you can find it in duplicationnation.com/MLM confidential. duplicationnation.com/MLM confidential. If you want it in Spanish, you can go to mlmconfidential.com. I don't know why is that popping up in the screen, but anyway. So again, English, duplicationnation.com/MLM confidential, and in Español, mlmconfidencial.com. If you register this month, it will be $147 a year, and that price will be for the rest of your life. When we go back to $347, you will still pay $147 because you did it on this month. So that's where you can do it. So what's the fifth and most important one?
Yeah, guys, this is the most lucrative. Number 5 is we're just going to put it all in this category of developing new leaders. And the thing that, for you guys taking notes, here's the thing I want you to put down in your notes. Write down, what is our leadership runway? Meaning, what is the natural path that somebody will take to become a leader in your organization. By the way, for you guys watching on Facebook, I should have said this earlier, like or follow the page you're watching so you'll know when we do future stuff. For you guys who are watching on YouTube, like the show, please, and also subscribe to the channel, because we're actually going to be doing some Facebook shorts and new broadcasts. So you want to subscribe to the channel. So wherever you're watching this now, make sure you like or follow or subscribe or whatever the case may be. All right, so back to this runway. If you want to become the co-anchor of Good Morning America or the Today Show, or you would like to be the anchor of the NBC nightly news or the Telemundo, news broadcast in the evening, there's a runway for doing that. You don't come out of college and say, yes, I would like to be the host of CBS Evening News. They'll say, get out of here, go pay your dues, learn do the work, hone your craft. So you start as a reporter, and then a local reporter, and then you might become a national reporter. And after you're a national reporter, then they might say, we're going to make you the foreign affairs specialist, or we're going to make you the business expert. And then you might become the White House reporter. So if you're in the political beat, the plum job is to become the White House correspondent for CNN. And then after you're the White House correspondent, then you become the fill-in anchor for the weekend anchors. And then you get promoted and you become a weekend anchor person. And then if you're really good, they will make you the anchor person, and you are the Leslie Holt, the Dan Rather, the Chet Huntley, the Edgar R. Murrow. That's the runway. So every good or every great organization, they have a runway like that. And people know, wow, okay, how do I start off in my local market? I'm a volunteer at the opportunity presentations. I become a ticket taker, or I become a greeter, or I become the person who sets up the product display every week. Then you might elevate to being a testimonial on the stage, and you might be doing a 30-second testimonial. Then you might be doing a 10-minute presentation at the weekly Leadership Academy. Then you might graduate to the point where you become the main presenter, and you're on the stage at the JW Marriott in Mexico City giving the presentation, or you're the main screen in the Zoom room and you're presenting to 15,000 people. And the next level is you become a trainer at a major event, or a keynote speech at a major event, right? And then you become a keynoter at the company convention. And then you might become one of the people who create the system for the team, right? So I would have a group of 8 to 10 leaders, and we would meet we'd find some gorgeous resort in Fiji or Tahiti or Hawaii or somewhere, and we would say, okay, what is the first step going to be? What is the video we want a candidate to see first? And then what is the follow-up book? What is the book we're going to use in the training session? How do we design the new distributor orientation? You become an architect of a system. Well, that's a runway, what I'm describing. And what you want, not everybody in your team wants to be a leader. You need to understand that a lot of people want to be followers. They have no desire to be leaders. They want you to be the leader, right? But there will be that 5% who want to become one of the top leaders in the organization. And it's really important that they know what is the pathway to do that. Again, for you note takers, here's the word I want you to write down: meritocracy. And no, don't ask me how to spell it. Meritocracy, right? People have to know that they will be promoted on their merits, not because they're your sister-in-law, not because you were their bandmate when you were 18 years old and you started a punk rock band together, not because you're the same age or religion or sports team or bowling league or whatever. They got to know the people in this organization who gets placed in leadership capacity do so by the merits of their work. That not only do they build their business and be an example, they support their team and they're an example for their team, but they also support the bigger team, the whole organization, the company. So they know that the company knows they can put them on the stage at a major event or convention, and you're not going to be talking some crazy stuff that's going to mess with somebody else's income, right? You respect the other organizations. You respect the company, right? So that's a pathway. So that those people who really are your multi-million-dollar producers, and you will all have some, if you stay in the business and you stay with Jaime and I and you follow the systems we teach, you will create a large team, and you will find those people who can be multi-million-dollar producers, who can build teams of 100,000 people, the equivalent of running a multi-million-dollar international corporation. But you got to have a runway. They have to know, what's the process I follow to get on that stage? What is the process I follow so the company asks me to be in the distributor advisory board? Or the company will bring me in when they're thinking about making some enhancements to the compensation plan, or they're planning what are going to be the qualification requirements for the new promotion or the new, the cruise to wherever, how can I be a valuable partner to the team leadership and the company leadership? You got to spell that out. So that's a big thing. So meritocracy and leadership runway. And then Jaime, what's your thoughts on just recognizing leaders, finding them, developing them? Can you riff on that for a while, please?
Yeah, there are a couple concepts that I think are very important when doing what Randy just shared. And the first one is that even if you create that path, that leadership path, you need your team to want to be part of that path. And sometimes we just forget how important it is to train our team on what's important and what's not. I remember many years ago, we used to have a catchphrase that was, the man with the marker is the man with the money. And everyone in every company used to say, the man with the marker is the man with the money. So who's the man with the marker? The man with the marker is the man that is in front of the room drawing all the circles for the compensation plan. And of course, now we don't do that because we show the compensation plan with videos on a Zoom call. But the idea is the same. The one that decides to be responsible of his own business and decides to lead his team in that process, that's the one who will make the business. Now, why it's so important, or why in my career it was so important, this catchphrase? Because the meaning was, if you want to earn money, you need to lead. You need to be one of those who decide to lead. And of course, as Randy said, not everyone will make that decision. Not everyone will want to do it. But those who are actually hungry, those who really want success, they will understand, okay, If I want success, I need to learn how to lead. And that's when they will decide to go through that process. Now, the second part of that story is that sometimes they want to lead, but you, deep down inside, you don't want them to actually lead, because that means you will lose control over their team. And we are afraid of losing control because, hey, it's also our team. We build this with the sweat of our face. I don't know how you call this part of your face.
Forehead.
Forehead, that. So I don't want to lose control because I am afraid that someone else won't lead as good as I'm leading. But you need to understand that just like happens with your kids, if you are always there for them and you are always solving every problem, they won't solve their own problems. They won't be responsible for their own lives. So they will grow weak. And that's not something compatible with being a leader. So now you have a path, as Randy said, and now you have trainings where you teach your team why it's so important that they walk that path. Now, the last part of the formula is that you need to let them do it. You need to actually respect their leadership. So you will be a mentor for them. You can be with them once a week, for example, and ask them what is going on with their teams. But if they need to do a training, you teach them how to do the training and they do it. If they have a problem they need to solve, you teach them how to solve it and they go and they solve it. You can't be the one in all the WhatsApp groups. You can't be the one solving all the problems for everyone, because that's the sure recipe for no one else to lead. Everyone will know that you are the one driving the car, and that's for sure not something that will develop more leaders. But if you mentor them and you let them lead their teams, that's when you will have more people leading, and that's where you can actually grow. For all the things we said, if you do promotions, you will have growth. If you do social media campaigns, you will have growth. But long term, the only way to actually have those massive teams with thousands of people is having more leaders, because otherwise your growth will stop where your leadership can get. And maybe you're amazing. Maybe that will go up to 5,000 people, but you will never have 50,000 people, because for that you need more leaders making the growth happen. So that's what I wanted to share, my friend.
Yeah, some other thoughts on this. The greatest thing that happened to me was I did a lot of work in nonprofit sector, volunteer organizations. I was the president of my church board for 2 terms. I was the president of the Florida Speakers Association. I was on the board with the opera and the film festival and a lot of organizations like that. And it's the all-volunteer army that Jaime mentioned earlier, right? You can't hire and fire people. You have to inspire people. And the gift that made me successful there is what's the gift that made me the most successful in this profession, is I was able to see the greatness in people before they could see it themselves. I don't know, because I lost my screen when my laptop crashed, but I'm gonna call her out. A lady named Terry Katz, who was on our last broadcast watching. She sent me a letter that I got last week. I immediately called Jaime and shared it with him. She just said, I want you to know, it was 15 years ago in Colorado, you came to town and you talked to me before the meeting, and then you pointed me out at the meeting and you said, you are a force of nature. You don't know it yet. It was just the most beautiful, heartwarming letter. And I get a lot of those letters. And that's why I do what I do. That's why I love this profession. Because for you guys who were with me and Jaime on the last one, I shared the story of the teacher who came in my jail cell and believed in me. And that's what drives me in the business. And to this day, I feel like I have to pay it forward to Baxter. It's my job to see the leadership in people before they see it themselves. And that's your job too. Every one of you watching this right now, that is your job, to see the leadership potential in people before they see it themselves, and then nurture that potential. And that's the greatest gift that we get as leaders, is the ability to do that. So put that on your action step somewhere, like, I'm going to take an inventory of my potential leaders. And like every month, when you're going in your back office and you're trying to plan your long distance lines, where you're going to travel to, do that with this frame of mind. Who is my next potential leader that I need to go down and lock arms with? And then the other thing I would say about this number 5 accelerator is I'm willing to invest in it, right? I've had, like companies will do trips. Let's say there's a big leadership trip in Hawaii or the Burj Al Arab in Dubai, or, some exotic location. And the trip costs $10,000. And they get points and they get, they earn toward the trip. So now I might have a leader, the trip costs $10,000 and they earned 7,500 of it, but they're going to have to pay the extra 2,500 to go to the trip. I might tell them, and they don't have to, and they don't think they could do it. They can't make it work. They're just at that point. They're still, paying off their credit card debt from when they had a job, and they, they're working their way up. But I know I know that will transform their life. And I'll say, hey, you know what? If you come up with half that money, I'll match half that money. It's not a scalable thing. It's not a duplicable thing. I'll be the first to tell you that. But I will break the rules when I know why I'm breaking them. And the most compelling way to get me to break the rules is to find somebody who I know could be an amazing leader. And that's a kind of an extreme example, a couple $1,000s like that. You know what's more likely? I'll read an amazing book that's just blows my mind on leadership, and I'll buy 30 copies of them. And I will gift it to my 30 of my leaders. 20 might be my locked in leaders, but 10 of them may be people that I think could be leaders. I will schedule a special trip to go and work with a potential leader. I will set aside time at a convention and say, I always book a nice suite at a convention with a little sitting area and whatever. And then I like to, meet with some of those people one-on-one, and I invest in those leaders, time, money, talents. And that's what we're asking you to do. Then we're telling you, of these 5 business accelerators, this is the one will just electrify your growth, because everything is about local leadership. I can call any company who's one of my client companies or Jaime's client company. They say, wow, our biggest team is in Tennessee. We'll call another company. They say, our biggest team is in Salt Lake City, Utah. Our biggest team is in New York State. Our biggest team is in tech. Well, what's the difference? Why? The difference is the local leader. You'll have a biggest group in some little mid-sized town that could never compete with New York City or Los Angeles or whatever. But you know what? There's a strong leader there, and leaders drive the growth. So make that your mission. You're going to create a leadership factory. You just have a conveyor belt that in every month there's new leaders. You open up the box and you take out the styrofoam and the plastic wrap, and there's a new leader in your organization just coming off the conveyor line. All right, Jaime, we have some final thoughts to bring this thing home. Are we going to split up and go to rooms, or we're doing this together, or how are we going to do this?
We are splitting, so I'm going with the Spanish-speaking people to say a couple final thoughts in Spanish so we can communicate better. We say thank you to Sergio, who's been translating us so amazing all this time. So for the people who are watching, nothing will change. You just keep on the same place. We were just split. Only the Spanish-speaking people, please give us 10 seconds. For the Spanish-speaking, the video will change in 10 seconds, and I will keep in Spanish for 5 more minutes with you, and the rest of you will stay here with Randy. So thank you very much, my English-speaking friends. See you soon.
Wow, this is going amazing. We have 3 minutes left. We're actually on time. It's running like it's supposed to. Okay, my friends in Inglés, my final thoughts to you. First thing, just a reminder, if you didn't subscribe to MLM Confidential, have you lost your mind? You need to do that. I promise you, it will be the most important resource for you to use this year. So go to duplicationnation.com, I believe /MLM Confidential. So please, and somebody, if you saw that or you wrote it down, click it, put it in the chat on Facebook, put it in the chat on YouTube if you would. But I promise you, we're going to do everything we can to make this your most powerful resource. Other thing I suggest, share this replay with your team. When I finish, you can wait about 60 seconds. It will then be available for replay on the Direct Selling Daily Facebook page, which is, if you're not watching on Facebook, it's facebook.com/Randy Gage Direct. And share that with your team, everyone, because all 5 of these accelerators are amazing. They really will make a difference. Look for Duplication Nation on Instagram and follow us. We're going to be putting content there. On YouTube, same thing, search Duplication Nation. We're starting the channel here. That's the one we're broadcasting live on YouTube right now in English. So follow us on the social media stuff. And of course, I'm on Twitter at Randy_Gage. You know, I told you my story about Baxter coming in my jail cell. I believe that everything I do forward is, I owe him that, to pay that for, because he saw that greatness in me. When I get letters like the one Terry sent me, I just tear up. I really do. There's so many people. I know what it is to take someone and, have them come in and they bought their first suit and the label is still on the sleeve because they don't know that you're supposed to take that off, or the vent in the back of the suit is still sewed up. Or the pocket is still, because that's how they ship these things, right? They've never owned a suit before, or they've never owned a tie before. They've never spoke on a stage before. And we get to be there to witness those moments when people break through. They have their breakthrough. And that person who was deathly afraid to ever, speak on a stage, becomes an articulate, eloquent, amazing presenter. And you get the gift of sitting in the front row and watching people come across that stage and earn those ranks and get those pins. So please, we want to be your surrogate sponsors. We're going to help you do that. So duplicationnation.com, blogs, videos, newsletters. Make sure your team is going through the MLM boot camp, and then the paid subscription, become a charter subscriber for only $147 a year at MLM Confidential, the newsletter. We're going to be here from you. We're going to take this business back. We're going to take the profession back from the terrorists and the dinosaurs and the zombies, because this is one of the most important businesses in the world right now, guys. The world is it's in the middle of a recession. It's reeling from the pandemic. We have the business. You have the business that gives people their dreams back and gives them a viable way to live those dreams. So please take that sacred responsibility with the reverence it deserves. Peace. Love you guys.
Gone, you are gone now. Hard to think of an easy way to start. It's over. Give me what I want. Think of what you did today, how it's gonna be. I've got a bunch of real good reasons.